Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back again after a week off due to a nice spring break. Ball Knowers is back on WIUR Radio live from New Rochelle, New York in the Murphy Center on the third floor. Welcome back. Robbie Basil alongside Cameron Woolley and Luke Dolan. So much to get into today, from MLB season predictions to possible talks about the New York Rangers continuing to struggle. But we begin today briefly with the New York Giants. Yes, you thought I was going to say the Jets, because that's pretty much how we've started almost every episode over the last couple of weeks. But no, it is the New York Giants. They went out and signed not one, but two quarterbacks. They went out originally and signed Jameis Winston to a short-term deal before just what feels like only a couple hours ago, but is really a day or two ago now, where the New York Giants signed Russell Wilson on a one-year deal. Cameron Woolley, I know you're shocked about it originally. The face says it all. I'm shocked because the Giants actually did it. Real quick, talk us through, one, the Giants signed the quarterback. Do you think this rules out Cam Ward as a possible New York Giant, even though right now it seems that Cam Ward's going first overall? Do you think the Giants can still go quarterback in the first round? And two, just your initial reaction to this.
I think this opens up a lot of possibilities for the Giants in terms of the draft. After this, I'm definitely more inclined to go best player available, because there's enough downside protection on this in this quarterback room to where I don't feel desperate to reach on a quarterback, even though I like Shedeur Sanders. Who knows if he's even going to be there? But in terms of the quarterbacks, I don't mind the guys that they have there. I'm going to admit I would have had more fun watching Jameis Winston, because he's just he's just one of those guys who just whoever, somebody's catching the ball, whether it's his player or the other players, it's somebody's catching that and it's going into one end zone or the other. He doesn't care where it's going. But Russell Wilson, I think he provides a lot more. He provides more stability than the Giants have had at the quarterback position in a very, very long time. And that's something that a lot of people are forgetting. The Giants quarterback situation, the bar for good quarterback play on this team is abysmally low.
Yep.
We've dealt with Daniel Jones for the last 6 years. You don't know what that does to you until you see a quarterback better than Daniel Jones. And these quarterbacks on the roster right now, you could even argue all three of them, Tommy DeVito included, are all better starters than Daniel Jones. So I'm definitely intrigued to see how this plays out. The first 6 weeks of the season, when the offensive line was healthy, a lot of people have forgotten that. They looked like they were a quarterback away from starting something like 4-2, even 5-1. But the way their defense played and how their offensive line held up, and with those receivers, I mean, Malik Neighbors, nobody's happier about this than him. He is going to put up so much yardage and touchdowns, and he's going to get a lot more catches. He broke records with the worst quarterback room in the league last year, and now he has competent guys under center. So I'm definitely excited to see him, especially after Jamar Chase's contract. He's definitely looking to break the bank on that. He probably will break their record. But with the Giants, in regards to what this does to their draft situation, I think Cam Ward's going number one overall. Every report coming out indicates that. His stock has risen even more than it was at the end of the regular season, after the pro days and the combine. But now I think my pick for the Giants at 3, and I've flip-flopped on this a lot. I'm not going to put this in as my final, like, that's my guy. But as of right now, my pick for the Giants at 3rd overall is Abdul Carter.
Yep.
An edge rusher.
Dude,
you have Brian Burns,
Brian
Dexter
Burns and
Lawrence,
Kayvon
you got
Best
Kayvon
player
Thibodeau.
Best player available.
But it's my theory on this the whole time has been edge rusher. You have two technically semi-long term in Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns. Added in Dexter Lawrence. You don't need another starter. I'm knowing from experience with the Jets and how they've handled and drafted like what feels like 65 edge rushers over the last 5 years. It works, but it doesn't get you the immediate result you need. So I don't know if edge rusher would be the way to go. I make sense, best player available to go with Abdul Carter, but do you really need him?
Yes.
I don't need him. I want him.
Fair enough.
That's
all I need to hear.
it's like one thing.
I need to hear.
One thing that
we have to
that
win
this
line.
regime. One thing that this regime is really struggling with is building an identity for this team. You guys could argue here that we could all agree. The New York Football Giants don't have an identity.
They really don't.
If you draft Abdul Carter and you put him on a line, a starting unit,
the NASCAR package
with Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns on top of another defensive tackle that you can draft from this very deep class.
Yes.
You can get a starting caliber guy in the 4th round this year. In regards to at least according to the research that I've done on PFF, I see a bunch of startable guys that you can draft all through this whole class. But you can also bring in Kayvon Thibodeau off the bench. And Luke knows this. He brought up the NASCAR package. Those Giant Super Bowl teams, they lived
on the
off defensive linemen and consistent pressure that you can bring in off the bench.
Yep.
And also, you could probably line up Kayvon Thibodeau on the inside. You could probably line up Abdul Carter on the inside.
Look at how the Eagles win.
Yeah, and not for nothing, everyone talks about building within your division. You have on the Eagles, you have Jalen Hurts, who not for nothing just won Super Bowl MVP. That counts for something.
Yep.
Even on that super team, it counts for something. You have Jaden Daniels, who is a freak. And you have Dak Prescott, who's owned you for a very long time. So you have 6 times a year, you are playing good quarterbacks if they're healthy. And in this league, and we've seen it, the foolproof way to beat good quarterbacks is to beat them to death in the pocket.
Yep.
We saw it with Mahomes. Mahomes, the best quarterback on the planet, might retire as the best to ever play the game. But you saw what that Eagles defensive line did to him.
Yep.
They ate him alive. And if you draft Abdul Carter and you give like Burns more time, you give Thibodeau more time to develop, you surround them with the best guys there and more talent, you are building something that could be an elite unit from day one. I think if the Giants draft Abdul Carter, they have a top 5 pass rush in the league. I genuinely believe that. Because I think Carter is, in regards to the guys who could be there for the Giants, I think Carter is the most bust-proof candidate there. Because not for nothing, and this is another point that I've made to my friends on, off record, but I'm going to bring it on record here. Travis Hunter playing 2 skill positions at MetLife Stadium on that turf, that is a torn Achilles, torn ACL. That is... Dude, both of his legs, all of his tendons are going to be pulled to pork by the time his rookie deal is up.
Yep.
You're not I'm sorry. I like Travis Hunter. I think he's really talented, but I just don't know how good of a fit he is here.
But just to bring it back to the quarterbacks, signing Russell Wilson and James Winston does protect them and give them an opportunity to pick whoever they want and not feel like, oh, we missed out on something or not prepared. They're prepared for all situations.
Well, right now, the current projections have the New York Giants selecting Travis Hunter at the 3rd overall after the new mock drafts have Shedeur Sanders going 2nd to the Browns. So right now, in the next couple of days, when more pro days come out and Shedeur Sanders has some more private workouts, I know his pro day, I believe, is coming up very soon. We just saw Cam Ward's pro day, which I'm not going to lie, I was scared a little bit for Cam Ward. He made a
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson pass. Because
Yep.
if you look at the footage side by side, I know this. I've watched Zach Wilson for a very long time now, if it feels like. And a throw he made on the run across his body looked nearly identical. Now, granted, what I loved, I did get to watch the Cam Ward Pro Day a little bit. And my favorite play about it was they did a little trick play towards the end. I don't know if anyone saw that,
No.
but they did a little bit of tomfoolery, and it actually looked pretty cool. But it ended with someone catching a touch. It was kind of like the
Flea flicker.
it's not a flea flicker. It was kind of like the Philly special on drugs. So, but it was like 4 end arounds and like a behind the
feel
back.
hate.
It was some behind the back action. Listen, you got to go watch the video if you want to be amazed. Speaking of being amazed,
I do want to do one thing.
Oh, come on.
About the Giants quarterback. I see what they're doing. They're building a kitchen.
oh my god,
We got Chef Russ, famous James Bakery,
Yeah.
and Tommy Cutlets. I see what you're doing, Joe.
Dude, you have Chef Russ. You have Tommy DeVito, who brings in the recipes from his mom,
Mr. Unlimited.
and his family.
my
And then you have your pastry chef, Jameis Winston, who's making all of his turnovers.
Yes. There was no one happier than me when we signed Jameis Winston, because as someone who's become apathetic to football, Jameis Winston's going to be playing on my team, the Giants. I will be seated in front of the TV because I have to see what happens.
Well,
I
he's
wanna
not
be-
starting anymore.
Well,
It's
he
Russ.
still could.
Well, he still could.
He could. Oh no! If he does start, I'm gonna have so much fun watching those
And I have
games.
all the material from Russell Wilson
Let's ride.
that I can laugh at.
Let's ride.
I will be entertained. And that's something I can't really have been for the last decade, really, by a Giants team.
Giants team or not, a lot of teams continue to make interesting moves. Jameis Winston caught me off guard with the Giants, but
He's had
Real
a 2-year
quick.
deal, too.
2-year deal too,
Yeah.
yeah. But the one move that caught me off guard before we send it to break, I want to get your guys' take on this. Stephon Diggs, like what the heck is that about? The Patriots signed
He must really hate
Stephon Diggs.
Buffalo.
Now, granted. Slow your roll, chat. Hold on. He's getting no guaranteed money in this. He's getting very little guaranteed money.
All
Does he
incentive-laden.
just hate the Bills that much?
I don't
Doing this out of
know.
spite?
I don't know.
I mean, it's a good fit. You have a young quarterback who showed
But it's
who
Stephon
showed a
Diggs doesn't want to
lot.
play be on the field. Have you seen him with the Texans?
I mean, he's a curmudgeon, dude.
It's a very weird fit. We could talk about Stephon Diggs all we want, but unfortunately, we will have to go to break. When we return, it's finally here. MLB opening day is here, and our season predictions are next. Stay with us here on WIUR Radio.
This is WIUR Radio.
Hi, this is Anthony Carlo, TV news reporter in New York City and proud alum. If you're looking for a career in media, Iona is the place to be. From internships to real-world experience, Iona's media program is unprecedented. Take it from an industry professional who made it in the biz.
Now back to WIUR, Iona University Radio.
Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.
Welcome back. How are we? Welcome back to Ball Knowers on WIUR Radio, live from New Rochelle, New York, on what is actually supposed to be a very warm weekend for baseball, not just in the Bronx when they play opening day and what feels like
First game of the day.
in the first game of the day. If to me it feels like that game is in 6 hours, but no, it's just live in a couple of minutes. But also,
Well, it's in 3 hours. The first game.
Yeah.
3
yeah,
hours.
3 hours,
Yeah, guys keep cutting me off. What are we doing? But what won't get cut off is me muting one of the mics, because one thing that won't get cut off is another presentation of Iona baseball on WIUR Radio. You can see Iona take on Ryder all 3 games on WIUR Mixler. Make sure to check it out. 3 games at Friday at 3, Saturday at 1, and Sunday at noon. It should be a fun series. You get to see us again, which I don't know whether to be concerned or I don't know what the word is gonna be because
we had fun.
it was
you-
fun.
What do you mean
Fun,
see?
dude.
You're on the radio. They can't see you.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah. They
I'm
can
too
see it.
used to the ESPN stuff at this point. But then again, they don't even see me on ESPN anymore. So who the heck knows? But what we do know, and that is what this segment is going to be, is our MLB season predictions. Now, if you've seen me in the past, and when I was on Into the Stands for the last 2 years, we went division by division. But due to lack of interest, we are changing it up here in the new collab with Ball Knowers and Into the me being from Into the Stands, these two from Ball Knowers, and we're going to change up a tiny bit. So we're going to go with each of our division winners, give a little bit of analysis, go through the wild cards, and who we think will be our World Series champion, who we also will think will be the biggest team that misses the playoffs from the American League and the National League. So real quick, we're going to probably feel like we're going to fly right through this, but we're going to start with the American League East. Now, the East, I'll just bring up my quick analysis of this division, is more wide open than we thought it was going to be because Boston made moves, the Yankees lost Garrett Cole, and Baltimore's pitching is still in shambles. So I don't know. I mean, Tampa could maybe be there too. A lot of people like Tampa Bay to be over on their win total this year, which I don't even know what it is.
They're sneaky.
They are sneaky, and they have this sneaky return of Shane McClanahan, which is why you could like watching the Rays this year, wherever, even if they're playing at a Yankees facility. But Cam, will start with you. American League East. Who do you have winning the division?
I have the Boston Red Sox because I think they're every few years the Red Sox just kind of come out of nowhere, and they make every offseason they always make high upside moves, but they don't usually pan out. Every few years they do pan out, and it usually leads to them making the playoffs and going on a playoff run. I think this division at this point is so weak that I think the Red Sox with Garrett Crochet, with the other additions that they made with Alex Bregman at Fenway Park, which is a really good fit. You know what, because the Green Monster, it's a lot closer than you'd think.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think they're going to win the division. I think there's a lot more upside there, and I think they're going to push through and win that.
American League East, Cam has his rival Boston Red Sox. Luke, AL East, wide open. Who do you have
Baltimore.
winning? Oh, you're going with Baltimore.
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, if their hitting doesn't collapse, they should be good. Simply put.
They lose Anthony Santander. They didn't really add anyone.
What do you mean? They got Charlie Morton.
That's why I said
In
that.
2025.
I remember the days where it was right before, I think it was right before COVID when he signed with the Rays. And then he went to the Braves.
Oh
He's been on like a
my
million teams. He's won I believe
he was
he's
a
won
mid draft pick
I don't even know.
way
But,
back in the day.
but what I do know is my division winner. I also have the
I got
Boston Red Sox signing Walker Buehler, getting Garrett Crochet. The bullpen, I still believe is a dumpster fire. I mean, Aroldis Chapman's their closer, which might be concerning.
Might.
I said it might because it's not the worst. It's not even one of the worst bullpens in the division. So the reason I originally had Baltimore here, but the reason I couldn't pick Baltimore is that their pitching is still terrible. You lose Corbin Burns. They didn't add anyone to replace him. They lose Anthony Santander, which granted they have a lot of young bats coming up, but I don't trust in this current moment for a Baltimore team that had a really hot start and faded away in the end. And that's a very popular theme on why I have a big team missing the playoffs later. Baltimore's a team.
Was not met.
Baltimore, they're in a weird spot because they're good, but I don't see them as great because they have the youth. They have Adley Rutschman. They have a ton of pieces that can get them over the top, but they're not I don't think they have enough experience to really throw themselves in the conversation. They don't have a true ace. They don't have yes, they have some elite closers. They have someone returning. I think Felix Bautista is returning or something from a serious injury. Also is what I'm concerned about. I don't know how to feel about Baltimore. I don't have them winning the division. I have the Boston Red Sox. Yes, they're the more trendy, unproven pick. They have Alex Bregman playing second. I don't know how to feel about that
because God forbid Revel Divers doesn't want to play third. Wants to play.
Make him
else.
DH at this point because
they're gonna make him even more mad.
Who knows? But They have, I think, a really solid infield. They have a good hitting core. Duran, we hope continues to develop from an outside perspective.
Tennis racket.
He kind of does. But the one thing I'm intrigued about, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, was the starting rotation for the Boston Red Sox with Houck, Bueller, and Garrett Crochet, a three-headed monster that can really cause a lot of problems in the American League. And that's why I have them winning the American League East. I trust their starting rotation enough to be able to provide the outs. Can the offense continue to rise from start to finish in the season to go on and win, to help them win the division? That's the biggest question I have for them. Moving right along, AL Central. We'll go a different order here this time. We'll start with Luke because the AL Central is still kind of a dumpster fire as well.
When is it never? When is it not?
When is it not? Well, last year 3 teams made the playoffs from the American League Central.
But there was you know who was in the division, right? The White Sox.
I
wonder where they got a lot of those wins from.
That
That being said, Cleveland. It's Cleveland's division to lose.
Ooh, Cleveland's division to lose. Very interesting. I'm gonna go next, and then we'll send it over to Cam. I have the Detroit Tigers winning the division this year. Yes, I think they could have made more moves. I thought it was a lock for them to get Alex Bregman for a little bit.
You were on that.
I was really on them getting Alex Bregman, and then they didn't get Alex Bregman. I don't know what the deal with that was. But they were able to add Jack Flaherty. I think it's a phenomenal move to add to his starting pitching. A duo of Skubal and Flaherty. We get to see it again. I'm very intrigued about that. But the biggest thing for Detroit, they need their young starting pitching to continue to develop. Casey Mize is a case in point for me. Wasn't as good as I thought he could be last season. He's a guy who I think needs to take a big jump in order for Detroit to solidify themselves at the top of the division. Reason I didn't pick Cleveland, they don't spend money. They don't deserve to win the division. And the Royals, I just don't trust them. I think they're that one team that's really have a big fall off for no reason, and next year be back again. I don't know. They have Bobby Witt. They're really good. I just don't trust them. I, for some reason, trust the Tigers more. I don't know why. I'm going with the team that I've been backing for probably the last couple of months, it feels like. And I'm going to say the Detroit Tigers game. So
it's funny that you make that last point because my AL Central champion in 2025 is the Kansas City Royals.
Yes, 3 different picks.
Wow.
I love that. Someone's getting
for if nothing else, they have a Hulk. Bobby Witt Jr. is my pick for American League MVP this year.
Ooh.
This guy is a monster.
I mean, I hope so. He's on my fantasy team.
And I'll say, dude, they've got. I mean, I saw that playoff series, dude. They're a pesky team.
Yeah.
And I think in the AL Central, like Cleveland's always kind of like 1 year on, 1 year off in terms of winning the division. I think the Royals, they have enough pitching. Like their starting rotation was very underrated last year.
Cole Reagan, Seth.
Cole Reagan. They have a three. They have a
traded Brady Singer though, did they not?
Brady Singer didn't start a playoff game.
Wasn't he hurt or something?
Well, he wouldn't have started anyway. They had like 3
top
top 10
What
guys.
is their rotation?
They had their top 3 arms. They have one of the
Cole
best
Reagan.
top 3s in the American League. They got Cole Reagan, Seth Lugo, and Michael Wacha.
They're 2 of them are old and probably are bound to fall off. And by the way, I love Cole Reagan. I think he's a dark horse to be like the best pitcher in the American League.
He's also
It's a dark horse Cy Young.
Dark horse Cy Young pick Cole Reagan's, by the way. But is it Seth Lugo like 36?
I mean, it's a pitcher's park.
That's very true.
Kauffman Stadium. It plays well, and they've
point.
got fast defenders. Dude, sometimes a pitcher and a team in a stadium just match up well. I'll say this, dude. Every single win that the Yankees got over the Royals in the playoffs, it was not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the slightest.
Well, the
dude.
Yankees weren't good either. Like the Yankees weren't good either.
Yeah, in that series.
Now you're starting like Cam. They went to the World Series, and that's not good.
No, they weren't good enough in the series and against the Royals, and they still found a way because the Royals in that series, which is why I didn't pick them either, they didn't hit at all. They can defend all they want, but they can't hit.
But again, dude, this is the AL Central we're talking about. I just think it's a bunch of piles of garbage, and the Royals are the pile of garbage that smells the best.
It's an interesting division to look at, but we'll stay with you, Cam, again, because the American League West is next. A division that we saw one team lose a lot. You had one team do nothing, and another team that's looking for a rebound after a very disappointing last season. American League West, who you got?
Until proven otherwise, I'm picking the Houston Astros.
Ooh.
That team's got. I trust that organization to find a way to win games. They're smart. They know what to do. They're winners with and without the sign stealing. That was proven a couple of years ago. This team is, at least in the regular season, I think they're going to win that division.
Interesting. I'll go next just to keep the train moving along. I have the Texas Rangers. Now, Texas are a interesting one. They had a really down season. But what was the one thing that plagued them? Injuries, and starting pitching underperformance. You forget they have Jacob deGrom in their rotation.
How much can you trust him to stay healthy, though? I'm being real, dude. I hate it. I hate that he can't stay healthy.
If you had a comeback player of the year award type of thing, I would have said Jacob deGrom. Not because I still like Jacob deGrom, even though he left the Mets. But it just feels inevitable. Remember when Chris Sale got injured a lot?
And then he magically
until
the final game, he was healthy all year for the Braves.
This is the year for that, I believe, for Jacob deGrom. Now, the Rangers are an interesting one. They have some young, intriguing pieces in the hitting core. They still got Adolis Garcia. They have an offense that can take them to a playoff spot and win them the American League West. Can their rotation do it? And that is my biggest question for them. And for me, I think they can. I really like the Rangers starting rotation. They're young in the hitting core in most areas. They're the trendy pick. I'm going with the Rangers. I really had to tell myself to not pick Seattle, and I'm not picking Seattle this year.
No.
For the first time in 3 years, I am not picking Seattle. I'm going with the Texas Rangers.
Well, now I feel I was also going to pick the Rangers because I don't trust Seattle. I'm looking at their pitching rotation.
Well, how bad is it?
Well, it's not that bad, but I see one Patrick Corbin's on the Rangers.
Well, he signed like a minor league deal. By the way, the Nationals finally got out of that contract. So give him a quick round of applause for the Nationals.
In some aspects, it was worth it for 1 year at the very
least.
True. They got a World Series out of it, and he was a huge part of that. Yeah, I would not care less.
There you go.
Could not care less if I was the Nationals.
The Nationals
he led the National League and lost like three years of that contract.
And now he's on the Rangers.
Bro, you won a World Series.
I know.
In the first year of his contract, dude. It doesn't matter.
I know. I want to pick Seattle, but I just do not trust that hitting.
The hitting is terrible.
It's not.
That's an understatement, by the way.
Mariners games are the most boring games on earth. I hate when the Yankees play them because the Yankees can't hit as it is, and
they have the best. They have like one of the best.
Yeah, they got a great rotation, and like the Mariners also can't hit. All those guys are hovering. Even though I'm not a batting average guy, all those guys are hovering around the Mendoza line, so nobody's getting on base.
No one's getting on base. No one's like hitting anything. I've got to go with the Texas Rangers just because I think they're due for a bounce back. And they got Jock Peterson. Oh, wow.
Who got Jock Peterson?
Texas has Jock Peterson.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
That guy's been a solid hitter for his entire
he's kind of
career.
a specialist now at this point. He's a righty specialist at this point in his career.
Listen,
no problem.
They'll take that because the Rangers, they just sucked last year for whatever the reason may be. Who was your pick for the division?
Texas.
So Luke went with Texas. So Texas. You went with the lame pick with the Astros, despite them losing everybody. But I kind of makes sense where you're coming from with it. But whether we like the Astros for whatever the reason, even if they're putting Jose Altuve in left field,
the Crawford boxes,
sharing time with Yordat in left field.
Listen, nothing about that team makes any sense. But what also may not make any sense is our wild card predictions. And I'm going to go first to change up the order. So, wild card.
Can we just do all three?
I'm going through all three. Don't worry about it. We're keeping it. We'll get it moving along a little bit here, chat. First wild card, I have the New York Yankees. Now, I didn't originally have them as my first wild card, but I can't not have them here. They're too good to miss the playoffs. That is my ideology with this. Yes, they lost Garrett Cole, but they still have Max Fried. They still have Rodon. They still have Luis Heel.
No.
Oh,
he's injured.
He's hurt. I forgot about that.
Mm-mm.
This is
No,
what
no
happens
Clark Schmidt either.
when I have to go. That's not the biggest loss in the world. I'm a
He's a good
personal
pitcher.
hater of Clark Schmidt. Not gonna lie. I traded him like 6 times in fantasy last year. So that's why.
Okay.
Listen, he got me
Why'd
like
you get
a
him
week
6 times and trade him 6 times and win?
because he was on waivers.
Oh, okay. That's
So
not a
it's
trade.
like you,
I
like,
literally traded him to like save my team.
so it's like a Kyle Pitts fantasy owner.
Yes,
I can fix him.
no, you're Fix-a-Felix. Like I can fix it. I have like your magic hammer, and you hit the guy. He's like still he goes from 1 fantasy point a week to 2, and then you you keep
The
running
local
it.
arcade near me has an actual Fix-a-Felix cabinet.
Oh my god!
It's it's a fun game.
By the way, Aaron
is, yeah.
Judge, I still think is really good. I have Yankees first wild card. Second wild card, I have the Baltimore Orioles. Now, I originally had Baltimore miss the playoffs, but that just feels wrong
because what the rest of the American League is not really that good.
because their starting rotation is just so awful to me. But there are rotations that I think that are worse, and that is why I have them making it because I think their offense can do enough to not really have to worry about the starting rotation. Their bullpen, love it. Rotation, dumpster fire. But I still think they can get away with it. I have them in my second wild card. In my third wild card, so last night I had a toss-up for about 45 minutes between Kansas City, Cleveland, and Houston. And I went with Kansas City. Now, yes, I have Cleveland, Houston, and Seattle missed the playoffs. My reason for it, Houston lost too many pieces to really trust them. It was Kyle Tucker, arguably their best hitter, and they lost multiple other pieces in the core. Seattle has no offense, and Cleveland traded to some of their best hitters, and I just don't trust them either. Therefore, the only piece you have left is Cole Reagans, who is one of my American League Cy Young contenders. And yes, I have an American League Central player winning Cy Young again. It's just so inevitable that the Royals find a way to make it as the 6th team in, as the last team in. So my American League wild cards, I'll go through with my division winners and wild cards. I have Boston, Detroit, Texas winning with Yankees, Baltimore, and Kansas City as my wild cards. Cam, over to you.
My wild card teams, I have first wild card is the Orioles because I think they're just like too good. I guess their hitting is too good. I think their offense is going to have a big bounce back. I think Adley Rutschman is going to be a lot more consistent.
Yes.
You have Gunnar Henderson, Gunnar Henderson. I don't need to explain that. They've got a lot of guys in that lineup who I think can mash. Wild card 2, I do have the Texas Rangers making it.
Okay.
Because, again, I think they're due for a bounce back. I don't think they're due for as big of a bounce back as a lot of people are saying. But I do think they are definitely due for one. And my third wild card, I have the Cleveland Guardians.
Oh, the Yankees missed the playoffs.
Yep, I will get to that. That's why I'm going through this so quickly because
Whoa.
I need to get to my point there. I have the Guardians making it as the third wild card because again the American League is so weak. They have enough. I think they have enough there to be at be at subsistence level the whole time.
Okay.
And as for why the New York Yankees are going to miss the playoffs, yeah, I have the Tigers. I don't know. I'm just looking at.
Yeah, the
I don't
Yankees is
know.
the big one. Go
Like,
ahead.
no, I don't know. Like I have the Yankees missing the playoffs because, again, I look at their lineup and I look at their rotation. Their rotation's in shambles. You're going to be down. Like Cole's out for the entire year. That was your ace. Luis Gil's going to be out until June or July. That's your reigning rookie of the year, high upside starter. And you're going to be down Clark Schmidt for probably a very long time as well. That is 60% of your starting rotation that you were billed on having not being there. That's massive. Instead, those guys are being replaced by Marcus Stroman, who is a head case and sucks.
We can tell you from that. We could have told you.
You have Will Warren. You have Will Warren, who I think is just going to be his career is just going to be as a quadruple A pitcher. And you have Carlos Carrasco, who even though he pitched well in spring, yes, exactly. That's my point.
Hey, you know,
And you have Carlos Carrasco who's probably gonna. I was about to swear, but
cookies and
He's Danish cookie time.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, Danish
It's
cookie.
hard-
I'm gonna
okay,
pull
I'm
out
just-
Frank the Tank Fleming. He's a Danish cookie.
He's hard. It's
But,
hard
like-
to hate Klaus Carrasco.
Like,
you know?
I don't hate him as a guy, but I'm gonna hate him as a pitcher. But like,
You might be
but-
pleasantly surprised.
and their bullpen is elite. I love their bullpen. Top to bottom, you got so many guys who are just gonna mow through it. If they're leading a game by a couple runs in the 7th inning, that should be good night the lights 90% of the time. You got guys like Tim Hill, Luke Weaver, Devin Williams in there, even up that you don't care about Devin Williams. You own him, but like
He changed how he sets up. I wonder why.
I mean, probably, I don't know. Dude, the Mets probably broke him, so he's probably gonna have an ERA of 4.5. But and their lineup, the only way I see the Yankees making the playoffs is if Aaron Judge continues to be Superman. And I don't think we're going to get a 55 plus home run, 200 WRC plus, 10 WAR year from Judge. I don't think we're seeing that again. Sure, I think he's going to have just a normal elite year. I think he's going to be an all-star. I think he's probably going to be top 5 in MVP voting, but he's not going to be the best player in the American League again by leaps and bounds. And I look at I'm going to pull up their lineup right now. I like Austin Wells as the catcher. I don't mind that. I'm not concerned with him.
First base for
Goldschmidt.
Paul
What?
Goldschmidt. Yeah, I'm looking at the lineup. I'm going to go batter by batter right now.
roll it.
Leading off Austin Wells, I think he's good. Aaron Judge, I did in the regular season. I think he's good, although in the playoffs, and he's still in my doghouse. Cody Bellinger, you don't know what you're going to get out of him.
Where does he play?
Center field.
Okay, good.
Paul Goldschmidt is unk. That guy's old. That guy's old as hell, dude. I don't know why they're trusting him to be a cleanup hitter. This is Josh Donaldson all over again. Jazz Chisholm,
I like him.
I like him, but I don't. He needs to step up in a way that I don't think he's gonna. You have Jason Dominguez, who can't catch a fly ball in left, and we don't know what he's gonna be as a hitter.
And y'all complain about Juan Soto's defense. by the
You
way.
have Anthony Volpe at short, premium defender, like platinum glove type guy. But I don't.
His bat sucks.
Well,
Inconsistent.
in the playoffs, he's an inconsistent hitter. You have Ben Rice at DH, who showed a lot in spring training. I'm somewhat excited about him, but again, it's he can only hit righties. And at third base, Oswaldo Cabrera. I mean, third base is going to be an issue all year. That they're going to have to wait until the deadline to possibly fix that. But again, they're going to balk on an easy fix because they're going to not want to trade Oswald Peraza again. So, yeah, that's my reason for there's too much downside there.
Gotcha.
A lot needs to break right. And with the Yankees, not a lot that needs to break right in order for them to hit that next level has broken right.
Interesting. Well, we'll keep it moving right along because we have a break very soon. Luke, wildcard teams, American League.
Red Sox, Yankees, and Astros.
Right. So
In that order.
in that order, so Red Sox, Yankees, and Astros. Biggest team to miss out for you would be the Royals.
Yes.
The Royals and
Tigers.
and the Tigers. So he no love for the AL Central, mainly from you do. How many teams do you have in the AL Central in the playoffs? Two. So I have 2. Luke has 1, and Cam has 2. Brilliant. Well, that is it for the American League. We'll be back in 1 minute when we return National League predictions, who we have win the World Series, and a brief update in the NHL. All coming up right here on Ball Knowers. Stick with us here on WIUR Radio.
This is WIUR Radio.
Hi, this is Anthony Carlo, TV news reporter in New York City and proud alum. If you're looking for a career in media, Iona is the place to be. From internships to real-world experience, Iona's media program is unprecedented. Take it from an industry professional who made it in the biz.
Now back to WIUR, Iona University Radio.
Welcome back to Ball Knowers on WIUR, and we're moving right along with our MLB season predictions. We're heading into the National League now, and we'll start it off with Luke for the National League East. 3 teams that really throw themselves into competing for the division title. National League East, who you got?
It's the Braves' division to lose.
Ooh, see, Luke is going with the
They're going to
Braves.
stay healthy.
I don't trust them. By the way, I do not have the Braves.
Well, as
winning it.
healthy as they can be.
Cam, who you got winning the National League East?
I have the Mets. I just think it's there's just too much juice going for them. I think they're gonna ride this. They're gonna ride this thing. They're gonna have a special year. They're gonna stake their claim.
Ooh, you going with them? I'm going with the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, they are the not as trendy pick as I thought they would be. But when you look at their starting rotation, let me learn you real quick. Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, Zach Wheeler's 35 or something. I don't know how to feel about
That's
that.
old.
Yeah.
He is old, but know who's not old?
He was traded for Carlos Beltran.
I know. Well,
That's
no,
how old he is.
know who's not old? Them trading for Jesus Luzardo, who I think is going to be really fun. They
yeah.
have Ranger Suarez and who's the other guy? Christopher something.
Christopher Sanchez.
Christopher Sanchez.
Aaron Nola, and then Zach Wheeler.
That rotation is ridiculous. No one's hitting them other than maybe like the Mets, like once.
Well, they're not.
Oh, and the
Zach
Marlins,
Wheeler.
probably like the Marlins or something. Speaking of the Marlins, they're the worst team in the National League. But we're not here to talk about the Marlins. I'm going with the Phillies. I like their offense with Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, and company. I have Bryce Harper really being in the conversation for National League MVP, along with a much better season from Trey Turner. I think they're going to finally be able to put it all together to win the National League East and then not win a playoff game. Philadelphia Phillies, National League East division winners. By the way, I have the Braves third, which could really make this prediction very interesting. But let's quickly move over to the Central, which is also a dumpster fire because Milwaukee lost pieces. The Cubs bullpen is a literal dumpster, and no one else has proven anything. Cam, who you got winning the Central?
I got the Cubs. I know it's the generic sexy pick right now, but I think that they traded for Kyle Tucker, and I'm just looking at everybody else in their division. They suck. The Brewers.
Who's good at this division?
The Midwest in baseball is just garbage.
I mean, you could claim someone to be good, but not great. That's literally everyone in this division. I mean, it's too much unproven,
I
right?
thought about picking the Reds because I thought I wanted to have like a dark horse team in there, but again, dude, they have Ellie De La Cruz and nothing else. And he's kind of a gimmicky player, to be honest. Like he's one of those over-marketed gimmicky players.
There's
Ellie
a
De La
lot
Cruz.
of those, to be fair.
But I think the Cubs are gonna win the NL Central just by competition.
It's a very interesting division to look at. But Luke, who do you have winning the National League Central Division this year?
The Brewers.
Ooh, the Brewers.
Their rotation is still pretty good.
It's still good. No one knows if they can hit or not, but we'll have to wait on that
Jackson
one.
Cherio's got to play good. Again.
This is where I come in with the sexy pick. I am picking the Cincinnati Reds this year. Now, by the way, I have the Cubs being in 4th for like most of the year, but I do have them finishing like still being atrocious. 'Cause I don't trust their bullpen. Brewers have no offense. So what do you have that's completely mid out of both that you can like put together? Cincinnati. They add Gavin Lux, which may not be a lot, but it's still something. But the underrated get that I think no one's talking about enough, and a guy who I really think is going to have a really solid season, is Brady Singer. They needed more starting rotation help to work with Hunter Green, who had a phenomenal year last year before he got injured. I think if the Reds can like finally play like 85 win baseball, 85 wins might win this division. No joke.
Yeah. Also, they have Terry Francona as their manager now.
Exactly. They have an experienced manager. If he can't manage this team, no one can. This is the year for Cincinnati. Pittsburgh is the other real sexy pick, but they have no offense either. But they do have Paul Skeens, so take that how you will. And they have a really young rotation building, which I'm very intrigued about in the future. But they're not ready yet. This has to be the year for Cincinnati. If it's not this year, it will be never for them. I have the Reds winning the National League Central By the way, I have the Cardinals last. I don't know how to feel about that, but
They're not good.
I know. Sonny
no-
Gray and
well, no-
Miles
well-
Michael is carrying the.
Well, no one's good in the Central. No one's really
No, but
good.
remember when the Cardinals were good like 2 years ago and now they suck?
Yeah, the Cardinals are like always good until now. which
Yeah,
I love.
Take that how you will. The Cardinals are arguably the worst team in the NL Central, but we're done in that dumpster fire and we move to the West Coast in the National League West, which, if I correct me if I'm wrong,
It's gonna be
but it feels like
unanimous.
there's 3 tiers in that division. You have the Rockies,
in the Rockies tier.
in the Rockies tier. Then you have really good, but you have to play the Dodgers tier with everyone else, and then you have the Dodgers. Yes, I'm picking the Dodgers to win the National
I
League
think
West.
it's gonna be unanimous.
I think everyone's unanimous here. Dodgers,
Yeah.
Dodgers, and Dodgers. They're unstoppable. They're unkillable. They're the they're like they're like those rich kids from the town next to you that just piss you off, but still find a way to win everything, even whether it be money or skill. No one really cares. They just find a way to win in the end. I know that.
Business as usual.
Business as usual for the Dodgers. They're going to win over 100 games. They might break the record for most wins in a season. Who the hell knows? They looked really good, by the way, against the Cubs.
And the sky is blue.
And this,
You were expecting what you were expecting the Cubs to actually like do anything against them?
I was expecting them to at least throw up a fight. And they didn't.
No.
They the Dodgers have all of Eastern Asia as
Yeah,
their
cheering them
farm
on.
system.
Cheering them on.
The NPB is the Dodgers farm system.
And their farm system's good enough already.
Yeah, dude, that is just a machine.
They have like a 9-man rotation. They can rock a 9-man rotation and still get away with it. But they're an interesting one. Now, this is where it gets really chaotic. The wild card. Now, me personally, I think there's 6 teams that you could throw in this conversation.
There's a lot of good teams.
There's
that
too
win
many
this.
good teams. Can we throw some of them in the American League, please? Like
Yeah.
the Cubs, even though they still wouldn't win the American League Central.
You just called the Cubs a good team.
Well, I called them mediocre. They can be good, but
mediocre in the National League is good in the American League.
Yes.
that's what I'm saying.
Empire
but
Sports Media has
wild
a
card
lot of
team.
predictions, but we'll get to those.
Wild card time. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Luke will go first. Let's hear him.
So I picked the Braves to win the division. Wild cards are going to be Mets, Phillies, and Diamondbacks.
Oh, so you've no San Diego Padres.
No.
Very interesting. Yeah, I get why they're kind of old, but
Well, also the Diamondbacks pitching rotation is solid.
adding Corbin Burns is a
And
good
Zach
get.
Gallen.
Corbin Burns, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly as well.
Oh yeah, and hopefully a bounce back from Erod.
Yeah. They did have Jordan Montgomery,
Well, he was a spare part anyway.
and he's not out for the season.
Yeah.
So take that how you will. Cam, you want to go next?
I have it straightforward. Phillies, Braves, Diamondbacks.
Ooh, so no love for the San Diego Padres. Well, there is someone who will be giving love to the San Diego Padres today. Biggest team missing for me is the Atlanta Braves. I do not have the Atlanta Braves making it. I have them missing by 1 game.
They're in the Houston territory until
They
proven
are.
otherwise.
You could say that they lost a lot and have a lot of unproven players, and they're already injured. How can I trust a team like they've had Ronald Acuna with 2 ACL surgeries? Sean Murphy's hurt. Jerickson Profar does not look good. What do I have to?
What sweater are you wearing?
The Mets.
And you were betting against the Braves.
Yes,
Very bold move.
I know. First wild card, I have the Arizona Diamondbacks. Second wild card, the New York Mets. And third, this is another toss-up. I had to talk myself out of picking the Giants because I know I loved it. Last year, I made the mistake and said the Giants were going to be good, and then they sucked. I'm not doing that again, even though I have Logan Webb like competing for the NL Cy Young again like an idiot.
Well,
I have the Padres barely getting out into the wild card by like a game or 2 against the Braves. Like there has to be a time where you have to talk yourself out of picking Atlanta. This is Atlanta's down year, and then next year when everyone's like healthy going into the season for once, that's when they explode. Like they lose Max Fried, they do nothing to replace him. Yes, they have Chris Sale, but can you trust him again for his 2nd straight year of being
Yes.
good?
He's Chris Sale,
He may be unkillable. And Spencer Strider,
who's
who's
injured
looked
to
good,
start- who's injured
injured to
to
start the
season.
season. Case in point. Braves, they could be that team, right?
The devil magic that existed in St. Louis is in Atlanta. Well, I guess it's always been in Atlanta.
It's
but-
always been in Atlanta.
Well, I mean, the Cardinals also have the Devil Magic, Supreme Devil Magic.
Also true. But let's quickly go to World Series teams and who we have winning the whole thing. Who wants to go first?
I have the Mets and the Red Sox in the World Series.
That doesn't sound like a real pick. You're just doing that just because you hate yourself.
Well, take a look at the last year I've had as a sports fan.
Okay.
And tell me if I should predict anything but the absolute worst. In football, the Giants let Saquon Barkley walk to the Eagles, and he proceeded to have he proceeded to have the best season ever by a running back and won a Super Bowl and made the Giants like nobody takes the Giants seriously anymore. They're the joke of
Have they ever taken the Giants seriously?
They're the joke of the world now. But like and take a look at baseball, the fifth inning of the World Series, and the Yankees lost one, so the Mets, thus ceding territorial control of baseball in New York to the Mets. And then in hockey, the Devils, I thought they were going to give me a little bit of reprieve. They looked like a cup contender through Christmas, and then for no reason, just completely collapsed. And the only reason they're going to make the playoffs is because the rest of the Metro just hates winning even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on top of that, Jack Hughes got hurt again. So now I have to deal with the narrative that Jack Hughes doesn't have a working shoulder. So yeah, my teams, all franchise players on my teams are somewhat injury prone or are losers in the playoffs. So why should I think anything different? Why should I expect anything else but the absolute worst case scenario for me as a fan? Because the sports gods have just for some reason had it out for me. For some reason, they just hate me so much. They want me to experience as much knife twisting pain as humanly possible. And I think a Mets Red Sox World Series would just be the perfect way to do that while the Yankees just completely collapse and miss the playoffs.
That would bring the narrative all together that you were going for, though. So I kind of get why you picked them, because you the Yankees missing it, you want eternal suffering, and you pick the Mets and the Red Sox.
I don't want eternal suffering. I have the Mets winning. I think whoever wins the National League pennant is winning the World Series.
That's the thought process I had too. Who do you have?
The Mets have a bunch of winning ball players. They know how to show up in the playoffs.
I don't know who's winning.
Do you want me to go first? Want me to go first?
No, I'm just looking. Who's an actual contender in the American League?
Boston, Texas.
Yeah, but
none of them are real contenders.
They would no. I could confidently say this. I think how many teams from the American League would make the National League playoffs? Like I said,
not a lot of them.
No, I'm like two,
like two or three.
Two. I would go as far as say one, maybe.
Which would be
probably the Red Sox. Even though I picked the Baltimore Orioles to win the division.
That doesn't make any freaking sense.
It depends on the matchup spread.
That's true. Fair. So who do you have winning the World Series?
Well, I could be a homer and pick the Mets, and I want to. I just feel like the Dodgers are just going to lord over baseball again.
That's lame.
I know.
I'm continuing the lame vibes. I'm also picking the Dodgers. I have them beating the Texas Rangers in the World Series. A rematch of what should have been a couple of years ago. If I have any team to trend in the playoffs, it would be the Diamondbacks.
I'll pick the Red Sox to go to the World Series because that's the only team.
So what do you have? Dodgers, Red Sox, Dodgers. Yes. That's even more boring.
I know.
I have the Dodgers over the Texas Rangers. I do not trust the Central. I don't trust Baltimore. Red Sox, this is their 1 year wonder year, and they're just going to collapse in the playoffs because who knows why.
Empire Sports Media picks the Dodgers and Texas to be in the World Series.
Why, JJ? Why are you copying me, bro? Leave me alone. Seriously. 4 minutes left in the show. So MLB season predictions done. Dodgers. You just don't like. All your teams just want misery. So he's picked the Mets. But speaking of misery, the Rangers are here. Not the Texas Rangers. The New York Rangers are here. They're behind the Islanders.
The New York Rangers and the Texas Rangers ever get together?
Oh my God.
Hey, Mike, do the New York Rangers and the Texas Rangers?
No, my favorite thing, though, is that they're behind the Islanders, and I'm living the life right now, but the Islanders are still not in the playoffs. So
I hate this team. Sam Rosenday comes and goes in a press conference. Quote, I'm trying to drag this team into the playoffs with me. Rosen said before the game, I walk around the locker room at practice, giving them encouragement. Come on, guys, you can do it. They're not listening to me, but hopefully that could change over the next couple of weeks. I want every player traded. I want every player traded now after that quote. Because if when you get up there in age, you don't miss your words. You only got so many few words left. You're not gonna mince them. If there is some truth to this, if you cannot play hard for Sam Rosen in his final season, I want you off the team. I want everyone. I'm not mincing you. I want them all off the team. This team has spat in my face and has given up on this team. They hate. They don't skate. They don't fight. They don't play hard. They don't hate losing. They are a bunch of losers. And I do not want to see this team again. And that says a lot because I wanted to see Sam Rosen's final games and they are making me hate watching hockey. I mean, they're making me actually think that I shouldn't be watching these games for my own happiness, even though I want to see Sam right off in the sunset. This team is, I hate the 2024-25 New York Rangers so much. They make me hate hockey. It's just hard to do. But they've done it. They're just like the most, they don't care. They don't care. They do not play for each other. They hate Chris Drury, and then more than trying to win the Stanley Cup. They have no life. They don't care. I want to say other words, but I can't say them to describe this team.
That is the Rangers season on life support.
They hate playing hockey, professional hockey. They are professional hockey. They could take it or leave it. It's a hobby for them. They don't care, and that's the worst thing you can do. That's the worst performance you could put up to a fan. If you don't, they actively do not care, and they've told us so as such. They don't care about playing, as evident from Sam Rosen's quote. Who they can't play hard for him. I want them off the team. That just says everything I need to know about how much I hate this stupid hockey team.
The Rangers continue to be frustrating. Quick.
They can't shoot the puck to save their life.
Oh, you want to talk about not shooting the puck? The Islanders still don't have 200 goals yet.
The Rangers haven't scored more than one goal for I've only scored over more than one goal.
You still scored more than we have. We've only scored 194 goals. You still have over 200. We're the only team, I believe, in the freaking Eastern Conference.
Oh, they also haven't scored
one of two teams in the Eastern
Conference. Power play in 7 games.
We have the second least amount of goals in the Eastern Conference, ahead of freaking Boston, and we're still ahead of you. How is that possible?
Because the Rangers suck.
We don't defend.
The Rangers don't defend. You see how many shots they give him a game? And not even resuscitating the amount of shots on goal.
Yeah, fair. Both teams don't defend. We essentially conceded the same amount of goals. So welcome to
They shot the puck. They got 12 shots on goal and salute to Sanday against Vancouver. And someone scored 5 goals.
Really?
Kevin Lincoln is terrible.
Yeah, true.
And then they've not gone. The one time they also got above 15 shots. They got 21. They still couldn't score to save their life.
Brilliant.
I was at the game last week against Calgary where I saw the worst hockey game. They did not care. I keep saying that I care more than they do. There was a point in the game in the 9 seconds, they're down by a goal where you should be pressuring. There was a 30-second period in the third period, I don't know, 5 minutes left. Calgary held onto the puck for a good 30 seconds without any pressure when you're down 1 goal.
You may have to be muted for the sake of the video, but I know we wish.
Don't care.
No, dude, let him go. Let him go, dude.
Well, we're actually about to be out of time anyway, but we want to get.
I'm going off on the bank. I hope everyone's traded. Mika's advantage gone. I don't care. You have no moving clause. You're gone. Kreider, I love you. I love you, and I hate to say this, but you gotta go. Terry Panarin, hey, I'll listen to the offers. Adam Fox, Adam Fox can probably stay. Can probably stay. Will Cooley, man, we can get a lot for you. JT Miller, hey, nice having you back. Go away. I don't. You're not doing for vintage Trocheck. Talk about someone who wants to be captain. I want you off this team. You were such a disappointment. If it wasn't Mika's advantage, you would be more scrutinized than you already are. And it's amazing how you avoid a lot of criticism when you have been the worst player on the team, without a doubt. And I can say that comfortably. You have been the worst player.
Well, You want to talk about being the worst? Islanders don't score. We don't defend anymore, and we've lost 3 in a row, and now we're out of a playoff spot again. Because have you watched this team in the last couple of weeks? I've tried to, but all I get is eternal disappointment. That is what it's like living on Long Island with Lou Lamoriello as your GM. 74 points. We still don't have 200 goals, and our goaltending is actually it's been up and down. It's been the year for the Islanders. Please sign someone next season, Cam. Devils report. Go. You have 30
I
seconds.
mean, it is beyond me how no, it's not beyond me how this team is still in the playoff spot because we just got 2 explanations as to why they are. They have been inconsistent, like frustratingly so at best for the last couple
But
weeks.
the teams behind them have been just as
But,
inconsistently bad.
and
At least you're not Philadelphia.
and like
At least
that
not Philadelphia.
everyone's hurt, dude. Last night we beat the Blackhawks by the skin of our teeth.
Really?
Which
Yeah,
dude,
like-
Jacob Markstrom, since coming back from injury, has sucked, and for some reason, Sheldon Keefe still thinks it's a good idea to try
He's probably still
to
hurt.
try forcing him as a starter. Yeah, great job for the strength and conditioning staff. Did they get the recommendations from the Yankees and Mets for their trainers? But the only reason that the Devils are still comfortably
Like
in
Chris
a play-
Kreider should be playing hockey.
the only
because he's
reason
definitely hurt.
that the Devils are still comfortably in a playoff spot are because the Islanders, Rangers, and Blue Jackets just hate,
ended their season,
just like hate.
and Montreal like stole their spot right from them.
Yeah, like the Montreal. I mean, Ottawa and Montreal, they should be the wild card
Oh
teams.
god, there's so
I
many
still
Canadian
think I
teams.
still think the Rangers, because they're like necrotic cockroaches, they're gonna make it into the playoffs.
If they're cockroaches, they're dead.
No, I still think
they're
I
not.
still think they're gonna make the pot. Granted, they're gonna play the Capitals in the first round,
gonna
and
get-
I think there's
Yeah.
at the absolute latest in the second round, they're gonna get like obliterated.
Yeah, they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose a series in 1 game.
Is that? Yeah, well, that could be possible.
Like with the Devils, I mean, like they have like Timo Meyer has really stepped up.
good.
But again, dude,
You
it's
were
March.
destroying him a couple
Dude,
months ago.
remember, you know when like Mika March was like the thing? Now it's like Timo Meyer. So
Timo Meyer
I don't know,
March.
we stole your bid.
That's
so
terrible. But
Meyer
it-
Madness.
You
at
is
steal
least
the
everything
term.
from us.
Meyer Madness is the way to do it because at least the Devils are still better than the New York Rangers in the end. That's from your perspective. Islanders, we're just bad, and the Rangers.
I hate my team.
There you go. That's all
I
it
hate
needs.
all of them.
That's what needs to be said. That's the end of another week of Ball Knowers. Thank you guys so much for watching every Thursday
even
from
mention that.
12 to 1.
I didn't even mention Lexley Lafreniere because that's how disappearing he's been. How
He
invisible
may-
he's been.
He may be turning into the next ghost of the New York Rangers. We'll see if any of our teams actually want to play hockey in the next week, or if someone wants to win a baseball game. You'll find out about all that and more on the next edition of Ball Knowers. For Cam Woolley and Luke Dillon, I'm Robbie Basil saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your week and happy opening day. We'll see you guys next time.
Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.